Hey guys, welcome back to another great game of PlayEDH. Starting us off is Marley on Atla Polani, Nest Tender. This is Shuffle Atla, but with an influx of big beefy boys to be able to beat face until the combo can be achieved. Next up is Ron on Tivit, Seller of Secrets. Clues, treasures, and time save go hand in hand, with the ever-powerful thrasios as backup. In the third spot is Alex on Tymna Bruse. This is Mardu Humans. It utilizes powerful human synergies to gain value and stacks out the board, while using Tymna to refuel and Bruse to power up his creatures. And bringing up the rear is Hidden on Rielle the Everwise. This is an Is It Discard Matters deck that uses Rielle's ability to net positive on cards such as Faithless Looting to dig deep and assemble an Underworld Breach combo.
Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board.
Also, if you want to support the channel, check out INTOTHEAM for some cool shirts and use code DOBMTG10 or the link down below for 10% off your order. But without further ado, let's get onto the gameplay. Marley starts off the game with an absolute power play, Maze of Ith. Ron has a Scalding Tarn, cracking the fetch for a tapped Watery Grave, but passes as he goes searching. Alex casts a Mox Diamond. He discards an Eloquent Harbor and plays out a Wooded Foothills as land, also passing as he cracks the fetch for a Cedh Triome. Hidden has a quick turn, just playing out a tapped Mystic Sanctuary. Marley has a tapped Celestia Sanctuary, bouncing his Maze. He does have 8 cards in hand and has to discard an Ulamog due to hand size, shoveling it back in. Ron plays out an island, and for 2, casts a Talisman of Progress. Alex has a Cavern of Souls as land, and names Human. He lets them then cast an uncounterable Tymna as he hands the turn over. Hidden has a Wooded Foothills. Cracking the fetch, he grabs out a Volcanic Island, but shortcuts as he casts a Harmonic Prodigy. Marley taps his land for an Arcane Signet, and follows it up with a Wild Growth on his Sanctuary, ending his turn replaying the Maze of Ith. Ron starts off his turn with a Demonic Tutor. He totally doesn't find and cast a Soul Ring, and follows it up with the Talisman of Dominance. Alex plays out a Handwear Battlements as land and has the combat. He sends Tymna at Ron, who takes the hit, with Alex spending 1 of his 2 life he just gained to draw off Tymna, ending his turn with a Talisman of Hierarchy. Hidden has a Cephalid Coliseum and then slams down a Rhystic Study. But Ron does have a response, as he free casts a Force of Will, exiling a Limdul's Vault. But Hidden wants the enchantment as he fires off a Misdirection, pitching a Flusterstorm to do so. The enchantment resolves and Hidden passes after that. Marley untaps and plays out a tapped Crozen Verge. 4 mana then gets him a Gamekeeper, with him being unable to pay for the Rhystic. Ron on his turn decides to just go for it with an Adnaz. He doesn't pay for the Rhystic, and while Hidden is good to draw, Alex does have a response as he casts an Orym's Chant, with Alex paying for the Rhystic.
Joke's on you, I'm trying to find lands.
Oh, you got me there, son.
Yeah.
Ron starts revealing cards off his Adnaz and does pretty well to start, ultimately stopping pretty early on as he can't cast anything and he will have to discard. He plays out an untapped Godless Shrine and discards a Windfall and a Phyrexian Metamorph due to hand size. Alex heads to his turn and casts an uncounterable Bruse Tarl. This puts another Rhystic trigger on the stack, to which Alex pays for the tax. Bruse resolves and gives Tymna double strike and lifelink off the ETB, with Alex sending Tymna at Ron for 4. Although Marley doesn't want Alex drawing extra cards, and activates the Maze to fog Tymna for now. Hidden has a quick turn, just casting a Fellwar Stone. Marley plays out a tapped Canopy Vista as land, and then his commander, Atla Polani. There is a Rhystic trigger, but responding to this, Ron flashes in his Bowmasters. This one will give Hidden a draw, with the Bowmaster resolving after that, and pinging Hidden to get his Orc army. Then, with the original Rhystic still on the stack, Marley pays for the Tithe. Atla then resolves with hidden at his end step, casting an Is It Charm to deal 2 to the Bowmaster. Ron plays out a Gemstone Cavern and then his Mana Crypt. He pays for the Rhystic and follows that up with a Jeweled Lotus. He pays the 1 and then casts a Wishclaw Talisman. He continues to pay for the tax and passes. Alex heads straight into combat. He sends both Bruse and Tymna at Ron, and gives Bruse Double Strike and Lifelink. Although Marley does end up mazing the Bruse, as Ron takes 2, with Alex paying 1 life into Tymna to draw on a second main. A Talisman of Conviction then comes out, with Hidden getting to draw off his Rhystic. Hidden plays out an island as land and then casts his commander Rielle. Marley has a Patriarch's Seal and feeds a card to Hidden. Marley decides to just wait at least another turn as he cracks his Crozon Verge for a Jetmir's Garden and a Plains, passing after that. Ron takes 3 from his crypt and then casts his commander Tivit. He will pay for the Rhystic and on ETB gains 3 clues and 2 treasure from the vote. Ron then activates his Wishclaw, but in response, Alex flashes in an opposition agent. Hidden draws, and unfortunately it looks like he forgot about his cavern, as Ron fires off a Pact of Negation to try and stop the creature. Hidden does like the idea of Alex tutoring more than Ron, as he fires off a Fierce Guardianship. Ron then cracks his treasure to fire off a Dovin's Veto. Hidden draws, but lets the Dovin resolve, following that up with a Swan Song on the Pact. Then with the Oppo still on the stack, Hidden basic land cycles an Ash Baron. This will trigger Rielle, which is doubled due to the Harmonic Prodigy, to draw Hidden 2 cards and then find him an island. The Oppo then resolves, with Ron handing the Wishclaw over to Marley, and Alex getting to find a card to exile. He ends up exiling a Time Sieve just to be safe. Alex shocks in a Godless Shrine, and for 3 casts a General Kudro. He pays for the Rhystic and exiles Ron's Demonic Tutor off the ETB. He then follows it up with a Skull Clamp, continuing to pay for the Rhystic. Tymna is then clamped, with Alex then heading to combat. He sends Tymna at Hidden, with Bruse heading at Ron. Bruse gives himself Double Strike and Lifelink, and is immediately chumped by the Orc army, with Marley mazing Tymna once again. Hidden plays out his island and then Chromoxes. He imprints a Back to Basics and passes the turn. Marley plays out another Plains as land for turn, and then activates his commander to make an egg, activating his seal to untap Atla, and then tap her again to make another egg. Ron takes another 3 from his crypt and then heads to combat. He sends Tivit at Hidden, but Marley, being the all-star he is, mazes the Sphinx, having the 3 mana needed off his enchanted Selesnya Sanctuary. Ron then on his second main ends up cracking all 3 of his clues to dig for something to do. He plays out a Verdant Catacombs and then taps 3 for a Lurrus of the Dream Den. He gives a card to Hidden, and I know, he probably wanted his Bowmasters, but he actually can't crack his fetch due to the opposition agent still on the field. Alex heads straight to combat and has the same attacks as last time, with Bruse getting Double Strike and Lifelink. Hidden doesn't block, with Ron trading away his Tivit with Bruse. Alex gains a bunch of life off the Lifelink, and on his second main pays 2 to draw off Tymna. An Ancient Tomb then comes out as land, with Alex then casting a Rule of Law. He pays for the Rhystic, with Hidden responding with a Dig Through Time. He picks 2 cards from the top 7, but ultimately the enchantment resolves, as Alex hands the turn over after that. Hidden plays an island as land, and for 3 it casts a Dak Faden. The Planeswalker resolves, with Hidden uptaking him to draw 2 and discard 2, and then double trigger Rielle to draw him 4 more cards. Unfortunately for Hidden, he's so focused on his outs that he accidentally plays out his second land, as he plays a Homeward Path and heads to discard. Marley is tired of waiting for someone to crack an egg, so he takes matters into his own hands, as he casts a Polani's Hatcher. He pays for the Rhystic and makes an egg on ETB, and then heads to combat. He sacks his egg and triggers Atla to reveal cards off the top till he finds a red dragon, which on ETB negs his opponents for 4. Ron untaps and overloads a dam. He's hoping to give Hidden an answer to Atla, as he doesn't pay for the Ristic. Hidden does have something, as he casts a Winds of Rebuke to bounce Atla, but Marley has a Tamiyo's safekeeping to keep his commander safe with hexproof. He pays for the Ristic, and the dam blows up everything. Alex will draw 2 off his clamp, with Marley having 4 egg triggers and his Gamekeeper trigger. The first reveals a Titan of Industry, which blows up Hidden's Ristic and gives Atla a shield counter. The second egg gives him a Pyre spawn, with his third creature being a Webweaver Changeling, with his final egg being an Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. He then exiles the Gamekeeper and flips into a Dinosaur Egg, with Ron being done after that.
Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Huh. That's a lot of stuff. Is that the Mill 21 or is that the Annihilation?
This is the Exile 20.
Got it. Huh. That's
it's going to be.
I don't like that a lot, actually, as a matter of fact.
It is only indestructible and nothing else.
You ready for the worst field ad of all time? Because I feel like I accidentally just put him on, like, overdrive.
Are you gonna wrath again?
No, actually. I kind of want to.
Alex is now hurting under his own rule of law, and casts a Lauren of the Third Path, who on ETB blows up his own enchantment. He then recasts Tymna and clamps her once again. Hidden untaps and plays out a mountain. He knows it's now or never, as he casts an Underworld Breach. He then transmutes a Muddle the Mixture to grab out a Brain Freeze. Hidden unfortunately relies on milling people out, which doesn't stop Marley. Hidden then ups the Storm count with the Soul Ring, and then this Brain Freeze. He mills himself for 9, and then Brain Freezes again for 12. He then casts a Mox Diamond, discarding a basic island. Next up is a Mox Amber, and then again a Brain Freeze. He mills 21. He did mill a Dockside, but wants to keep out as much interaction as possible, as he recasts a Lotus Petal. He cracks it for a red, and then recasts the petal for another red. This then gives him the mana needed for his Dockside. Ron does have a response though, as he fires off a Mana Drain. But Hidden has a Pyroblast in his grave, and the Goblin resolves. Hidden gains 13 treasures, and this is where I'll speed things up, as Hidden starts to loop Dockside, Chain of Vapor, and Brain Freeze, to net him a bunch of treasure and eventually mill out both Ron and Alex. His next move is to cast a Gilded Drake to steal Marley's Ulamog. Hidden has one final Dockside to go up to 28 treasures, and then recalls for X equals 4, to grab back a Force of Will, Cyclonic Rift, Deflecting Swat, and a Winds of Rebuke. Hidden then overloads his Rift to bounce all of his opponent's stuff, finally ending his turn, upticking Dak to have Ron draw 2 cards and lose the game. Marley then heads to his turn, recasting his Wild Growth on his bounce land, following it up with his commander, and then an Arcane Signet, having to discard down due to hand size. Alex heads to his turn and dies. Hidden starts off his turn with combat. He sends his stolen Ulamog at Marley, who still has the maze, but will exile 20 off the attack trigger, with Hidden on his second main casting his Gilded Drake to steal Atla. But as a consolation prize, Hidden does activate Rielle to have Marley draw 2 and discard 2, with him pitching a Kozilek to have him shuffle his grave back in, with Hidden ending his turn casting his commander Rielle. Marley draws and has an Abrade for Atla. Hidden doesn't want to have his commander, as he deflecting swats the damage to his Gilded Drake, with Marley throwing in the towel as he doesn't have any other outs, winning Hidden the game. Game review. Well, sometimes the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. I do want to thank Marley for playing the big bad at the end, to really force Alex to remove his own rule of law. Marley's board state really had Alex spooked. And granted, I was actually holding an Ottawa in hand to do the same thing. But if you don't have to expend your own resources, it makes it even sweeter. I think overall, other than feeding my Ristic probably a few too many cards, there really wasn't anything egregious to really mention in the game review. I really did love seeing Marty humans in action. And man, that opposition agent for Ron's Wishclaw really was awesome. I know if I didn't go off the turn I did, Marley really though would have taken over the game state with his board of big beefy boys. I think overall, the only thing I would have changed about his play was probably activating the Wishclaw at some point. Although I don't know the list well enough to really know what he really would have grabbed. Thanks to everyone who joined for the game. And before everyone leaves, I want to thank our special Patreon members, Slyfox, Tango Down, and Holy Septic for their support of the channel, along with all of our other Patreon supporters as well. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.